tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu. So this is Majjhima Nikaya 43, Mahāvedalla Sutta, the greater series of questions and answers. Thus have I heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jetha's grove, Anathapindika's park. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Mahākoṭṭhita rose from meditation, went to the Venerable Sāriputta and exchanged greeting with him. So Mahākoṭṭhita is a kind of a very senior monk, and he is an arahant. And Sāriputta is considered to be the most in the wisdom. So Mahākoṭṭhita goes to Sāriputta. But normally what happens is, if arahant is going to arahant for asking question, he may have some students with him, and for their benefit it may be asked. Over here it has not been mentioned, but it can be assumed that there may be students with him, because there are other places where they go with students, and students have been mentioned. So this we can assume that they are both arahants at that point of time. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Mahākoṭṭhita rose from meditation, went to the Venerable Sāriputta and exchanged greeting with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to the Venerable Sāriputta, this chapter is about wisdom. One who is unwise is said, friend. With reference to what is this said? One who is unwise. One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is unwise. And what doesn't one wisely understand? One does not wisely understand. This is suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the origin of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is unwise. So the wisdom is about knowing the suffering, knowing the origin of the suffering, knowing the cessation of the suffering, and knowing how to reach the cessation. That is the path to the cessation of suffering. Saying, a good friend, the Venerable Mahākoṭṭhita delighted and rejoiced in Venerable Sāriputta's word. Then he asked him a further question. One who is wise is said, friend. With reference to what is this said? One who is wise. So one who wisely understands. And what does the one wisely understand? One wisely understands the suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One wisely understands, friend. This is why it is said, one who is wise. Consciousness is said, friend. With reference to what is consciousness said? So it says it cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. What does it cognize? It cognizes this is pleasant. It cognizes this is painful. It cognizes this is neither painful nor pleasant. It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. So consciousness has a function, and it is just for that function it is there. So there are eye consciousness. So when the eye consciousness is there is contact, and contact is there feeling. But at the feeling point also there are three things are there: consciousness, perception, and the feeling. So three things are there. So now when that is there, the function is to cognize if it is pleasant, if it is unpleasant, or neither painful or kind of pleasant. So that is what it does. It cognizes. Friend, that is why consciousness is said. Wisdom and consciousness, friend. Are these two states conjoined or disjointed? And is it possible to separate each of these states from other in order to describe the difference between them? Wisdom and consciousness, friend. These states are conjoined, not disjointed. It is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. For what one wisely understands, that one cognizes. And what one cognizes, that one wisely understands. So when there is wisdom, there is also consciousness. When there is consciousness, there can be wisdom. But it does not mean that if there is recognition or consciousness there, automatically wisdom is there. But for the wisdom to be there, consciousness has to be there with them. And one of the way Bhante used to explain us is that we use the word recognize. So when you see this, you may say, I don't recognize, because you did not kind of note it first, what it is. So I don't recognize. So cognizant is there in our language also, that is recognize in that sense. That is why these states are conjoined, not disjointed, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. What is the difference friend, between wisdom and consciousness? These states that are conjoined, not disjointed. The difference between wisdom and consciousness, these states that are conjoined, not disjointed, is this: wisdom is to be developed. So our understanding has to be developed. So by seeing and kind of we will be able to develop those wisdom. Consciousness is to be fully understood. So we have to understand what is consciousness, but wisdom we have to develop. How do we understand it? By observing it, by seeing what is happening, how it is happening, and how it is functioning in your life. Feeling is said, friend. With reference to what feeling is said? It feels, friend. That is why feeling is said. What does it feel? It feels pleasure. It feels pain. It feels neither pain nor pleasure. It feels, friend. That is why feeling is said. So all this explanation is very simple. It is not philosophical or kind of ambiguous or kind of speculative. It is saying that feeling is just feeling. It is painful, pleasant, or neither painful nor pleasant. Perception is said, friend. With reference to what is perception said? It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. What does it perceive? It perceives blue, it perceives yellow, it perceives red, it perceives white. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. So perception perceives. So to perceive that, if you say blue, you need to know the blue. If there is a color which you did not know is there, then you will not recognize it. So perception works with your history of knowledge. Feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, are these states conjoined or disjointed? And is it possible to separate each of the states from the others in order to describe the difference between them? Feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjointed. It is impossible to separate these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. For what one feels, that one perceives, and what one perceives, that one cognizes. That is why these states are conjoined, not disjointed, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties? What is purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties? What are the five faculties? It is the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and the body. What is the state of meditation where these are not there? Arupajana. Arupajana, because the body is not there. So that is. Friend, by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties, the base of infinite space can be known. Thus, space is infinite. The base of infinite consciousness can be known. Consciousness is infinite. The base of nothingness can be known. There is nothing. But why is neither perception or non-perception not there? Because it is a very ambiguous state. So certain places where all the jaras are included, neither perception or non-perception is not included. Because that space you are not able to say or know. You cannot say you are not able to know. You cannot say that you are able to know. So it's a very kind of tricky situation when you are there in the neither perception or non-perception. Friend, with what does one understand a state that can be known? Friend, one understands a state that can be known with the eye of wisdom. So this is a very important topic explanation. So the what happens is we are generally asked, oh, if I am watching, then I am there. No, if there is no self, then who is watching what is happening? So the Buddha or over here Sariputta is saying is that eye of wisdom is there. So Bhante explains it as your mind has the faculty of wisdom, and through your mind's faculty of wisdom, it is observing. So the wisdom part of your mind is observing what is arising and passing away, and it is seeing. So there is no need to have a duality. So it is the eye of wisdom. If I have an eye, that does not mean that I am a separate eye, separate. If I have an ear, that does not mean the ear is separate from this whole functionality. Functionality may be impermanent, it may be impersonal, but all of it is functioning. So the eye of wisdom is also a functioning part of the process. Friend, what is the purpose of wisdom? The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge. Its purpose is full understanding. Its purpose is abandoning. So what do we abandon? We abandon greed, we abandon aversion, we abandon the delusion which are there in our mind. We abandon all those things. So its purpose of wisdom is to have direct knowledge. Direct knowledge is why when you are doing the meditation, you are directly seeing what is arising and passing away. That is what you are seeing. That is what you learn, and that is what is the important thing, not the experience, but what is the understanding you develop with your mind movement, with all these things happening. That is what you are to see. And then its purpose is full understanding. So you have direct knowledge, and then you have full understanding. And its purpose, when you fully understand, you fully let go, you abandon. Right view. Friend, how many conditions are there for the arising of right view? Friend, there are two conditions for the arising of right view: the voice of another and the wise attention. These are the two conditions for arising the right view. As we said, the Eightfold Path starts with right view. If the right view is there, right intention is there, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. So, what is required for the right view itself to arise? That is the voice of another. Whose voice is this? Voice of another. Other voice. What is the voice of another? It is the Buddha's voice. Without the arising of Buddha, we will have to again investigate everything. No? So we have to have the voice of other. And then what is the other thing which is required? Wise attention. You have to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you don't get. Like we went yesterday, there were a lot of they are overworked kind of MBBS interns. So they were some of them were kind of sleeping when I was saying, okay, they are not giving ear, they are sleeping over here. But they are also overworked. But anyways, but that is I may be speaking the Buddha's word, but if the person is not willing to hear, then one other person was there who, when we talked about that, he is taking a God, God, God. So he is not understanding what is being said. He is not willing to listen. If you're not giving wise ear, then you will not gain the wisdom. So Buddha can be there, but without Buddha, it cannot be there. So there's a voice of another, which is the Buddha, and the wise attention. That is the arising of the right view. Wise attention. Friend, by how many factors is right view assisted? When it has deliverance of mind for its fruit, deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. When it has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. So this is saying that what are the factors required for it to come to the Nibbana, stage of Nibbana. Friend, right view is assisted by 5 factors when it has deliverance of mind for its fruit and deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. When it has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. Here, friend, right view is assisted by virtue. First is virtue, which is the Shila, which we do over here in the retreats. First, in the morning, what we do is we take the precepts. Second is learning. So we give you information and you learn, we give you instructions. That is the learning, which is a discussion. Discussion is what? We have question and answers. You ask us something, we talk about it and we discuss. So then that is also there. Then there is serenity, that is tranquility is there. And then there is insight. So all of those factors are there. So we call our meditation as twin: tranquil wisdom, insight. Okay. So Metta Vipassana is a way of saying Metta is also insight, Vipassana is also insight. So Metta Vipassana is because we are using the object of meditation as Metta. So Metta Vipassana. But all these factors are there in the learning of the process. This is assisting the right view. When you have right view, but you have to have assistant. That is, you have to have virtue. You have to have learning. You have to have discussion. You have to have serenity, and you have to have insight. All these things have to be assisted. Right view assisted by this five factor has deliverance of mind for its fruit, deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. It has deliverance of wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. Friend, how many kinds of beings are there? There are these three kinds of beings. Sense sphere being. Sense sphere being are we, all the animals are there, all are the sense sphere being. Fish and all these things are also sense sphere being. There is fine material being. Fine material being are all the devas, all the earthbound devas, all the devas in the heaven. All those are sense. And all the Narkaloka also. And then there are hungry ghosts and all this is our fine material being. Then there are immaterial beings. Who are immaterial beings? Say if you have done Arupa meditation and you have perfected the Arupa, but you have not gone to the awakening, or you have done it in a way that is not the Buddha's path, by one pointed concentration. Or then after you are passing away, you go to the Arupa realm, where you live for a long time. Exact numbers are I don't remember, but I'll tell you it is about 18,000 for say infinite space. It is about 24,000 for infinite consciousness. I think 64,000 for nothingness. And neither perception or non-perception, if you are gone there, then you would have 84,000 Mahakapas, 84,000 Big Bang time. Like we discussed Big Bang and how much time. So it was 84,000. There you will spend. And everybody has spent that time at least once. Everybody has been there. So we have already kind of had that experience because it has so long, samsaras are so long that everybody has at least experienced that. So then these are the three. There are sense sphere being, fine material being, and immaterial being. Friend, how is renewal of being in the future generated? So how does the rebirth happen? Renewal of being is generated in the future. Friend, renewal of being in the future is generated through delighting in this and that on the part of beings who are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. So when you are having some kind of delight, then you want it more. And then it is fettered by craving. That is the craving. So if you delight, you have craving. If you have craving, you have I want this, I need this, and that is how it goes. So there is a kind of a joke story which is there, which is told about a person who is told that, see, when you pass away, whatever is your thought which is there, that is takes you to the next. So if you remember Buddha Dhamma Sangha, then you will go to the heavens, because you are, when you are dying, your thought is that Buddha Dhamma Sangha, that is wholesome thought, and you will go to heaven. So he thought that I will maybe save time. I will not chant that or do good things. What I'll do is I'll name my three sons Buddha Dhamma Sangha. So then when I'm dying, they will come for inheritance where the gold has been buried. Then I can remember Buddha Dhamma Sangha and I don't have to do it. So his plan works. When he's passing away, he spent his life in the shop, means doing business, and his shop becomes very successful and everything. He has a lot of money. And when he's passing away, his son comes and he said, "Oh, he gives the inheritance. He says, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, Buddha Dhamma Sangha." Then he remembers, Buddha Dhamma Sangha is over here. Who is at the shop? And then he passes away. So a person who has spent whole his life in the shop, his habitual tendency is thinking about the shop. So it is not something which can be by cleverness can be overcome. So whatever you are thinking and doing every day, that will become your habitual tendency. Thinking. Also a verbal thinking. So whatever that is just a way of showing that what you cannot kind of cheat the process, because your habitual tendencies is always that. So that is how it goes. So that is something which is over here is saying how the renewal of being happens. It is by delighting in this and that, hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. So not knowing. When we don't know, we kind of have poison, thinking this will help us. But if we knew, then we would not have poison. Friend, how is renewal of being in the future not generated? Friend, with the fading away of ignorance, with the arising of true knowledge, and with the cessation of craving, renewal of being in the future is not generated. So the knowledge is what is taking you towards the Nibbana. So if you know, only then you will be able to. If you don't know, then you are in ignorance. Cessation of craving, knowledge? That is fading away of ignorance, with the arising of true knowledge, with the cessation of craving, renewal of being in the future is not generated. Then it is asking about the first jhana. What are the five things are there? Five hindrances are there, and then the thinking, examining thought, joy, happiness, and the collectedness of mind, which is there. That is there, and then it is asking about what factors are there, what factors are not there in the jhana. Then the five faculties. We are asking about the faculties. I think it asks about the fourth jhana also, but we will also skip that because we have taken it multiple times before. Friend, these five faculties each have a separate field, separate domain, and do not experience each other's field and domain. That is eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty, and the body faculty. Now, of these five faculties, each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain, what is their result? What experiences fields and domains? So it's saying that you cannot hear from the eye or see from the ear. So what they are separate, but what is the central point where you experience all this things? Friend, these five faculties each have their separate domain. Now these five faculties each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain, have mind as the resort. Mind experiences their fields and domains. So we saw that in the mind faculty there is perception and feeling, and perception is also there in the mind. So when you see where it is experiences in the mind. So that is why that is considered to be the center point of the thing. Friend, as to these five faculties, that is eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty, and the body faculty, what do these five faculties stand in dependence on? So what are the things which these things are there? What are they dependent on? Friends, as to these five faculties, that is eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty, and the body faculty. These faculties stand in dependence on vitality. So vitality is what? Vitality is the jiva or the prana or the chi which is there. So the energy which is there, which normally which we say. Here in Pali it says ayu. Ayu. We know ayu as age, but that is the life ayush. Ayu. So that is the thing which is there. So that it stands on dependence on those things. If you, that is also karmic. That energy is karmic. So like we were discussing yesterday, that if a person kills, then he has a shorter life in the next life. But if he preserves life and does not kill, keeps that precept, then he has a longer life. Sometimes we say, what does the, garlic, why it is considered longer life? Because many years back, when media was not very, this thing, social media, they had gone to a woman who was 110 or 20, very old, and she was the oldest woman. She said, my secret of old age is garlic. And that become a kind of, everybody thought it is garlic. Then now everybody, every next 6 months, somebody old, the oldest woman dies or oldest man dies, and then there is a next, and they ask. So one of those documentaries I was seeing about a black man who was in America. He was a World War veteran, who was 120 or something like that. And he was asked, what is your secret of health and old age? 120. He still function 120. He's walking. Yes, he married in 115 or 110. He married. His wife was 100 years old. So he was 110. His wife was 100 years old. So they were kind of living, and then he asked the secret. He said that if I wake up in the night, if I wake up at 3 o'clock, or I wake up at 2 o'clock, or I wake up at 4 o'clock. Whenever I wake up, I get up and go and have coffee, and I don't sleep. So I don't stress about sleep. That is the reason. So now that does not make any logic. We cannot do that. So he does not know actually what is the secret of his long life. So he has some karmic energy that has been given his long life. But he says, okay, I think this is the reason. So that is how the karmic energy is also, that this can be said, vitality can be said karmic energy. Friend, what does vitality stand in dependence on? Vitality stands in dependence on heat. So it is usma in Pali, heat. Heat is, if you see, if a person is there, you can see the heat. So that is the heat is there. So when vitality is there, there is a companion is heat. Now it has, friend, what does heat stand in dependence on? So he says heat stands in dependence on vitality. So then he says, just now, friend, we understand the Venerable Sāriputta to have said vitality stands in dependence on heat. And now, okay, sorry, what did he do? And now we understand him to say heat stands in dependence on vitality. How should the meaning of these statements to be regarded? So he says that vitality stands in dependence on heat, but the heat also stands in dependence on vitality. So he was giving an example now. In that case, friend, I shall give you a simile. For some wise men here understand the meaning of a statement by means of a simile. Just as when an oil lamp is burning, its radiance is seen in dependence on its flame. So when there is light, there is a flame which is there because of the light is there. Its flame is seen in dependence on its radiance. So because the radiance is there, we can see the flame. So both are dependent on each other. If there is no heat, then there cannot be any this thing. If there is a light, then there is a heat is there. So both things are independent of each other. So when the oil is there finishes and the wick also finishes, then there is nothing to burn, and then it kind of extinguishes. That is how vitality also works. So too, vitality stands in dependence on heat, and heat stands in dependence on vitality. So one other thing which we talk about is consciousness. Consciousness is standing on dependence on mentality, materiality. And mentality, materiality stands in dependence of consciousness. Consciousness and mentality, materiality also has an interdependence. One is not there without the other. But when one is there, the other is also there. So that is to be seen. Friend, are vital formations things that can be felt, or vital formations are things, and things that can be felt are another? So his vitality can be felt Vital formation, friend, are not things that can be felt. If vital formation were things that can be felt, then a student who has entered in upon the cessation of perception and feeling would not be seen to emerge from it, because vital formations are one thing and things that can be felt another. A student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling can be seen to emerge from it. So when we talked about the cessation yesterday, so how they go into cessation and come back, because if they are going, there is no consciousness. So if it was something which can be felt, then it cannot come back, no, from it. Friend, when this body is bereft of how many states, is it then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log? So what is the death state? So what is the state of death? Friend, when this body is bereft of three states: vitality, heat, and consciousness. So vitality is also not there, heat is also not there, and consciousness is also not there. It is then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log. Friend, what is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, and a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling? So when the cessation of perception and feeling is there, there is no consciousness. So we are not, we are, there is no body, mental activity which is there. So the person has no activity going. So how can we say this person is dead and this person is not? How or this person has gone in cessation? What is the difference? Friend, in the case of one who is dead, who has completed his time, his bodily formations have ceased and subsided. His verbal formations have ceased and subsided. His mental formations have ceased and subsided. His vitality is exhausted, means it is finished. His heat has been dissipated, means heat has gone away. And his faculties are fully broken up. So all of those things are not functioning. In the case of a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling, his bodily formations and bodily formations have ceased and subsided. His verbal formations have ceased and subsided. His mental formations have ceased and subsided. So he's not thinking or saying or doing any bodily activity. But his vitality is not exhausted. So that prana, ji, whatever chi is there is not finished. His heat has not dissipated. So his heat is not there. It is with him only, it has not been dissipated. And his faculties become exceptionally clear. So when he comes out, his all ear, kind of ear is that, eye is that, ear is that, nose, tongue, sense of touch becomes very sharp. So one who comes up, then he sees green, he will see a very kind of vibrant green. If he sees, hears something, he will hear something which is not like the bird chirping, which he had not noticed, he will start noticing. Wind going through the skin and through the hair, he can experience. So his faculty becomes exceptionally clear. This is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, and a student who has entered upon cessation of perception and feeling. Deliverance of mind. Friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind? Friend, there are the four conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Here, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, a student enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana, with which has neither pain nor pleasure, and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. These are the four conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Then how many conditions are there for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind? So the signless deliverance of mind can be said to be two places. One is the nothingness which you go, and it can also be considered to be the kind of the cessation space where there are no signs. So this is something which Bante was not clear, because there is a phrase which is there which makes him kind of doubt this paragraph. Friend, there are these two conditions for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind. Non-attention to all signs. That is clear. When you are in nothingness, we don't pay attention to any signs. And attention to the signless in the mind. So we are just paying attention to the signless, which is there. We are not paying attention to anything. and we are paying attention to the signless. That is what is nothingness, which we go. These are the two conditions for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind. Now, if we certain people say that this is the kind of phrasing is there for the cessation, going into cessation for a arahant or a anagami. They will pay attention to the signless and then go into that cessation space. But what makes Bhante Vimalji doubt this thing is the next paragraph which is there. Friend, how many conditions are there for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind? Friend, there are these three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance. Means how do you stay in that state? That is non-attention to all signs, attention to the signless. So now they are saying that non-attention to all signs. That is correct, but there is no consciousness. So cessation, it cannot be cessation. It should be nothingness. What is there? Attention to the signless. So there is attention also. If there is attention, there is consciousness. So that can also not be cessation. So this must be the nothingness which is there phase, and the prior determination of its duration. So prior determination of the duration is when you kind of do a kind of a adhitthana, that you will stay in this state for so long. That is what it is there. That is what is kind of making it feel that this state which is there is cessation, because cessation has also gone through the adhitthana. So there is some kind of translation or some kind of mix match which has happened over here. These are the three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. Friend, how many conditions are there for the emergence from the signless deliverance of mind? So how do we come out of that signless deliverance of mind? So if you consider it as nothingness, this can be very clear. You will understand this. Friend, there are these two conditions for the emergence from the signless deliverance of mind. Attention to all signs. So as you pay attention to all signs, and non-attention to the signless element. So that nothingness, you don't pay attention. If there is a light comes or a thought comes, you pay attention to that. Attention to all signs and non-attention to the signless element. These are the two conditions for emergence from the signless deliverance of mind. Friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind. What is immeasurable deliverance of mind? Which is the Brahmaviharas which are doing. Because it cannot be measured. When I say you send it, let it go, and it can go to the end of the universe also. It cannot be measured how far it is going. So one of the suttas the Buddha is talking about that when you are doing this practice, if this feeling of metta goes to such places where two worlds are not are so apart, the darkness over here is perfect. Darkness is there. When this feeling of metta goes, there is light. The beings experience light, and when the beings experience light, they see that there are other beings also over here in this darkness, and they say, "Oh, Venerable, I did not know you were there in this space," and they are inspired to be born. So that metta can give that much of joy and happiness. So if it goes to those places, that can give a lot of joy. And then there are other beings over here in the earth also, where they get inspired to be a human. One of the things Buddha says about is that if you do it for just a snap of a finger, the metta properly, the amount of merit you earn is more than the Ashwamedha Yagna. So Ashwamedha Yagna is mentioned many times in this Vedic times. So Buddha says you can earn more than that merit by doing it only for a snap of a finger. Correctly, if you do it, that is how much merit you can earn. So
it's also a kind of dana.
That is also a kind of dana. That is the dana starts with your mind. And one other sutta the Buddha is talking about, if you are having ill will for others, if you are having cruelty towards others, thoughts about cruelty towards others, then you will go into hell as if you have been picked up and dropped there. That is what the Buddha says. That mind states are very important to keep our mind clean. That's the reason 6 hours is very important. If something unwholesome comes, you just let it go. Let it abandon it. Once Buddha says that he was not even a bodhisattva. Before that, he was a teacher. Many of his students were going into many different deva lokas. So he said, if everybody is going to the, I know to better than them. So he started doing the Brahmavihara practice, Metta practice. For 7 years he did that practice. He said, when I did that practice for 7 years, so many times I was born in this loka, so many times I was born in this heavenly, so many times he was born. Then he was born in earth, he was born as a world conquering king. For hundreds of times he was born as a world conquering king. And then he was born in rich families and this and that. So till there's a long amount of time he enjoyed the benefit just for doing the metta practice for 7 years. So he says there is a lot of merit. But when we are doing the metta practice, we are doing it for more than that merit. We are doing it for understanding. We are doing it to kind of understand and go beyond the samsaric cycle. Whatever he did, again he had to come back to life. Again he had to do the normal things and he became a normal person. So whatever he came and did all these things, again he was back into this thing, samsara. Interestingly, last 2 or 3 days, I have had two stories about people who won lotteries. So there was one person who at 19 he was a garbage picker. He earned some millions of dollars of lottery, and in 8 years he kind of lost all of the money, and then he is again a garbage picker. So that is how samsara works. It is all impermanent. Even if it is a billion years, you are there enjoying this thing. After billion years, you are again back to square one. So that is how it works. So we have one thing step above that. That is understanding. So we have to say that it is not very. We say understanding. It feels like very samanya thing, very normal thing, but it is a very great thing. It can kind of one example Buddha gives of attaining sotapanna, stream enterer, is that if you consider the world's oceans, the water which was there, that is the amount of tears which you have shed on the relatives past. That is the amount of dukkha you had, and the amount of dukkha which remains is only about the handful of water. So that much you have given up. That much you don't have to suffer. Only this much is remaining. So even if you live for 7 lifetimes, that is very less suffering which is there. Even if it takes 7 lifetimes to kind of complete this journey, it is very less which is there. And when we are doing it diligently, definitely we can complete it much lesser also time. So, friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind, the deliverance of mind through nothingness, the deliverance of mind through voidness, and the signless deliverance of mind. Are these states different in meaning and different in name, or are they one in meaning and different only in name? So I'll just summarize this because this is a lot of repetition is there. So deliverance of mind and the deliverance of mind through nothingness, and the deliverance of mind through voidness. Voidness is a kind of nati. There is a kind of a practice in there, which is that this is not me, this is not mine, this is not mine. So I say that this is not me, this is not mine, this is not. If I am sitting over here, I say this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. And whatever comes, I say that this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. So it's just a voidness. So this is void of me, void of self. This thought, did I think this thought, or it? So this thought is not me. This pain, did I ask it to come? Did I generate the pain? So this pain is void of self. That is a void practice which is there. Then the nothingness practice is the practice going through the jhanic and going into the nothingness, and then from there you go into cessation. Then the Brahmaviharas. We do Brahmaviharas. Through Brahmaviharas also we progress, and through progressing Brahmavihara again we come to nothingness or cessation. And the cessation happen in any stages. It can happen in first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. arupa jhana of infinite space, infinite consciousness and nothingness. Or in metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. So any of these states also cessation can happen. So that is a different way. So now how they are different? Because there is a different object of meditation. So that is the difference which is there. What is the end result? In all the things, end result is you give up all kind of craving which is there. That is the commonality which is there. So wherever, whatever is there, that becomes the same, because what happens is everything is given up. So now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. This is why in which these states are one in meaning, different only in meaning, because everything is given up. If you do it with a Brahmavihara, if you do it with Janik, this thing, if you do it with voidness, if you do it with Vipassana also, all the process leads to only one thing, which is giving up of lust, giving up of hate, giving up of kind of delusion. When you give up those things, it will happen, and it will, giving up is also happening automatically. There is nothing which we have to do as such. So tomorrow maybe I'll take one of those, that sutta, which is saying how everything happens. If one is there, the other automatically happens. As I told you about the Eightfold Path also, and the seven factors of awakening also. If the mindfulness is there, investigation automatically happens. When investigation is there, balance of energy happens. When the balance of energy is there, joy is there in your mind. When joy is there, tranquility is there. Tranquility is there, then it comes to the collectedness, or jhanic, this thing is there, or concentration. And then when mind is concentrated, equanimity is there.
Can you repeat it? Mindfulness.
Mindfulness is there, then investigation of mind states. Next is energy. Next is joy. Next is tranquility, collectedness, and equanimity. So this are also happens one after another. So all the factors which are there, if one is there, next thing will automatically happen. If you start working on it, then everything will develop. You don't have to think of, oh, everything I have to develop. I have developed now mindfulness. Now how to develop equanimity? It is the part of it. It is a very kind of a system which is natural. So it is nothing unnatural about it. That is what the Venerable Sāriputta said. The Venerable Mahākoṭṭhita was satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Sāriputta's words. So this whole conversation is about many topics which are there. But all the topics individually is very simple, because it is all straightforward. Nothing kind of mystical about it. There's nothing where this is there, because certain people don't like this also, because they like to have something mystical. There is self in non-self, and non-self in self, and doing good is bad, doing good is also bad, and all these things. Something kind of they like that kind of a philosophical talk. They want to have kind of not to give up the ego. That is some way they talk a lot. There is one other our student. He talks. I thought he's understanding our practice, but no. But he is involving different kind of practices. He will go to this kind of Vedic practice also. Then he will go to temples also. He will go to the church also, and he will do whatever he wants to do. And I'm just following him and seeing what he's a writer, so he has a lot of way of kind of flowery words and everything, using of the that thing, and then it is like oh my God, whatever is this is there is a lot of ideas, lot of views, a lot of kind of noise, and this noise is there to avoid responsibilities. But over here, when we say you have to sit, then you have to sit, you have to see, then you have to see. If you don't see, then you are not. You are doing good, you have parameters. You are not doing good, you have parameters. I know or don't know, I don't matter. It is you know or you don't know. Do you know you have sat, or you are fooling me? You cannot fool me because I don't care. I don't care if you are succeeding or it does not make a difference to me. You know, I will get my food, I will get my shelter, and all these things is always secure. I don't have to worry. I will. You have to worry over yourself. If you are lying to me or something like that, then who you are fooling? You are fooling yourself. So in many of the things, like next, I'm just trying to prepare for the Mahabodhi only. There a lot of people come and they kind of. I am sure they are not doing their practice. They are just coming and lying to me. You know, I sat for 2 hours. I did this and that, and I don't care if you did that. Okay, did that. But if you did not do that, did you fool? You did not fool me.
It's an opportunity to use you.
Correct. And if they kind of miss that, then how can I kind of help them, you know? And that is what the thing is, you know, wise attention. The voice of other is, we are using the Buddha's voice. This is not being done by many because many people don't like this kind of process because it's boring a little bit. It is a little bit boring only. It is a repetitive process. But now when I am speaking, I am giving the voice of the Buddha. Now that is not given by many. This has started recently after Bhante Vimalamji had been doing it for more than 20 years. Now people have started using suttas in their practices. They have started reading suttas. Other kind of sects and other teachers have started reading suttas. But there were nobody who was doing it. Everybody was doing ad hoc teaching. They were just reading, coming and talking on topics. But when the voice of the Buddha is there, we are missing the voice of the Buddha. And this is also not very ego satisfying. No, when I'm talking about by reading, it's not very ego satisfying. If I talk about those topics from my memory, or I prepare this, then it could be very ego satisfying also, no? That I am there. You don't say, oh, he has so much knowledge, you know. This is learning is what parrot learning. You can do that parrot learning, and then kind of say that ad hoc, which is that. That is a way which helps also because that has some benefits. Right, while speaking, I don't prepare because the audience also has this thing, and there is an interaction. So I look at the audience and see, and that is there. When I go for 1 hour, these talks and all these things. So, but when we are doing a retreat, we want you to have that experience of the Buddha's teaching. So what the Buddha was teaching, or what the Sāriputta and Moggallana or Mahākoṭṭhita, what was that? The other monk was there. They were discussing that you kind of was like you are sitting in the kind of a tree besides them and listening to them, you know. Sort of, not exactly. There is something I skipped also, but it is the nearest experience you will get of the time. And that time, the teaching was there, and it was not very complicated, no. And but because now also people say, "Oh, this is boring. We are not." But if it is not there, then who will do it? At least one, we have to do it. And not everybody can be popular. Some people have to be right. Yeah.
Can you tell me the Sotapanna? How you define Sotapanna?
So there are 10 fetters which are there. Okay, fetters are the things binding you to the samsara. So one of the fetters is not having faith in the practice.
This is for Sotapanna only.
So when Sotapanna becomes, I will give in the positive. So then what happens is he has faith in the practice. So he knows what I am doing.
First one is faith in practice.
Faith in practice. Or faith in the Dhamma.
Faith in Dhamma.
Then second is they understand that rites and rituals, Kriya Kand which we say, will not lead to awakening. It is not saying don't do rites and rituals. Rites and rituals are there in their own way. They can be useful. Like they use candles or diyas or something like that. Then that can be useful also. Then the third is they get insight into the impersonal nature. That is not the fully giving up of the impersonal nature or fully giving up of self. That will only happen an arahant. Then that is Sotapanna. Sotapanna has 7 lifetimes maximum. Before that also he can, but 7 maximum lifetimes. The Buddha says that if a Sotapanna is exceedingly kind of heedless, he will not see a 8th life. The Buddha is saying that he is exceedingly heedless. He will not see the 8th life. So in the 7th life. So most probably before that only he will get. Then in between the Buddha is also giving a 2 or 3 household life. 2 or 3 household life. That can also be there. But then the next stage is considered to be Sagdagami. Sagdagami is once returner. So he has already given us 3 things. Then 2 things become weak. One thing which becomes weak is lust. And one thing which becomes is aversion. Lust and aversion becomes weak. Now those people can still be in marriage. So there is one sutta where somebody is coming and speaking to the Buddha and says, why does lust overtake my mind? So because he is asking this question because he says Sagdagami. And then the Buddha is giving a kind of explanation about those things. But the Sagdagami can still have a marriage life because that things have weakened, but he has not gone away completely. Certain times it can take away. Certain times aversion can also take hold of the person. So it's a difficult space. And Sotapanna and kind of the Sagdagami, those can also be attained by study and contemplation. Study and contemplation can take you to the Sagdagami. Now there is Anagami. In Anagami, they give up lust totally and give up aversion totally. So that person, one description the Buddha is giving is he goes to the king's palace and eats lunch also over there. But he is not attracted to the food. So there is no danger for him. Because he will not get attracted to the finest food which is there available for man. If that he is eating, then the attraction to that will not be there. So that is the Sotapanna. Now, Anagami. When Anagami is there, he is not born as a human, but he gets born in the Brahmaloka. Okay. Now he has 5 things which are very subtle, which are there. Something he wants to become in the human life. He may want to become a person with psychic powers. He may want to become an arahant. That is also a desire. That is a human desire. Something he wants to become in the Brahmaloka. So he wants to be reborn in Brahmaloka. There is some desire which is there to go to Brahmaloka. Then he has restlessness. He has conceit. Conceit is Ditthimana, which is like I am, a Anagami. That I am an Anagami is a conceit which is there. Or in one case I mentioned about Aniruddha. He said, I know 10,000 world system, but still I am not a Arahant. So Sāriputta says, I know is your conceit. So then I know also has to go. Or I am has to go. That is conceit. Then the last one is the big one. That is ignorance. Now when ignorance goes, then you are a Arahant. So there are very subtle things which remain as a Anagami. Now there is an interesting thing about Anagami which is that when they become an Arahant, there is a stages which has been mentioned. I was very much interested. Bhante was not interested. I researched this and told to Bhante. Bhante said, "What? So what?" So, but if you are an Anagami, you can become an Arahant on the deathbed. 7 days is there for your life to go within that 7 days. And there are at least 2 cases of in suttas where the lay person who was there on the deathbed has become a Arahant. One is Suddhodana, who was Buddha's father, and one other lay person was there. He was on the deathbed when he became an Arahant. He was an Anagami. Then an Anagami can become an Arahant on the deathbed or on the occasion of his death, that is just before his death, or in the process of death, or just after death, or after death and his consciousness has not reached the Brahmaloka. Between that period, he can kind of give, or his consciousness touches the Brahmaloka, and that time he gives up the then, or a short time he stays in Brahmaloka, or a medium amount of time he stays in Brahmaloka, or a long time he stays. So a long time resident will go through the 5 Brahmalokas. There are 5 levels of Brahmaloka. So he'll go through that and he will become an Arahant. So now when we are talking about Nagas, these are the Arahants who have become Arahants in the Brahmaloka. So they still have some ability to come to the earth. And kind of like Brahma Sahampati, which is there. Brahma Sahampati is also was a disciple of a previous Buddha, Kasapa Buddha, and he comes to Buddha and kind of once he encourages him to teach. Then there are other suttas also when he comes and kind of praises certain things or comes and clarifies certain things. So he is coming to the Buddha. So that is also a designation which is there. So those arahants which are there can also look after the Buddha Sasana, and they can kind of take care of the Buddha Sasana. So that is what they are, that long the Buddha Sasana should stay. That wish is there because they can be taken care of.
So in meditation, we radiate heat energy also.
That is not important. Yeah, that is yeah. We just meditate. We just have the intention to share our whatever is the metta is there, karuna is there.
Due to meditation, I have some bubbles in my tongue.
So it should, yeah. Then you should not put so much effort in that.
Okay.
If there's effort, it should be without effort. Just be more calmer and then just have the intention.
Okay.
If it goes, it goes. It, wherever it wants to go, it goes.
It does not represent the body heat.
No, it does not represent. Any other questions? No. There are a lot of things which was to be covered today. Huh? Yeah, Rahu became awakened. He was enlightened. He became. It is said that when he was getting his higher ordination, that time he was. They gave kind of the body. There is like hair of the head, hair of the this thing, body, the nails, the teeth. That is given as a object of meditation. So that is when you are getting ordained. Even if you are getting ordained as a samanera, those are given as an object of meditation. So somebody was cutting the hair. So the hair was went flowing down, and when he saw the hair flowing down, he realized that this hair, which was part of me, now is not part of me. Now it was when part of me also, it was not me. Then he gives up the attachment to them.
So realization is very much.
Realization will happen. Yeah, realization is important, but it will happen if you are with your practice. And with the effort, it does not happen. Like Ananda was very much doing effort. He did not. When he gave up effort, he became a arahant. So that is how. So it will happen naturally. You have to do the practice. The other thing. So Rahula became, but Rahula died young. I don't know, but he died before the Buddha died.
How?
I don't remember the story. There are stories and everything is there, but I don't remember the story.
How much days required Pujaniya Rahula's Kritika Arahanta? How much days required?
No, he did a lot. I think he was a Samanera when he was 7. So 13 years at least he was there. In 20, but that 20 is not our 20. It can be 19 years, 8 months or something. Because they use this thing, a moon calendar. And we use sun calendar. So there are some days, moon calendar has 360 days, sun calendar 365 days. That's the reason Adhik Mas comes into picture, no? In Hindu calendar, there is Adhik Mas, additional month. So every example 6 years, 1 month has to be added to adjust the time. So so it must be about what is about 13 years he practiced.
His son.
13, 1 3. 13 years. 13 years he practiced. And he was a child when he came. But there are other cases where 7-year-olds were arahants. There are other cases where it has been mentioned very casually that, oh, this was a 7-year-old, he was an arahant.
Small children also have 7 years.
7-year.
The karma sankaras also have a big role in that.
Yeah. Your previous practice, Shankar. See, when many of the residents of the Devaloka knew that Buddha has been born or is going to be born, they gave up their place and were born in the human form. But because they were Devas, they were born in the rich families. So they were rich people's son, they were princes. And when Sakya, they had so many princes, they said Sakya kingdom ended because all of the princes went away to become monks. So there is two stories behind that. One is that all the princes went away. One was that the Sakyans did a kind of a with a Shudra king. They did a kind of a what is it called? They kind of falsely kind of married off a kind of a maid as a princess to because they did not want to marry off their kind of daughter, and he came to know. His son came to know actually. His son came to know, and he said he was very angry that the Sakyans have done disservice to me. So then he took an army and went and kind of finished off the whole Sakyan plan. And when he came back, he was resting on a river bank, and a flash flood came, and all his armies also was wiped out. And Buddha went to stop it also. So Buddha sat in the way where they were going. He found a banyan tree and sat on the this thing. So the army did not cross because Buddha is sitting, and how can we cross with our arms? Then he went back. Second day also Buddha was there, so he went back. Third day also he came. Buddha was there, so he went back. Then Buddha understood his mind, and he said, even if I sit for 10 days, he will not. He will come again and again because he has made up his mind. So then Buddha left from there. Then fourth day he came. He did not see Buddha. He marched his army. So there is one explanation is that this is how the Sakyans were wiped out. But many tribes now call themselves Sakyans. So where we go in Deer Park, the manager of it is also Praveen Sakya. So the Sakyan, many of them have. So they are in the middle of this thing. But then there are many Sakyans in the northeast. They call themselves. I don't know if there is any genetic kind of study or anything, but many of the tribes also call themselves Sakyans. Anyways, this is how Buddha's teaching sometimes they say is when the devas are there, they come. Now they are already purified. They have very good karmic energy. Maybe they have practiced many lifetimes over there, or maybe they have heard the Buddha's teaching and were there and were kind of eager to kind of attain nibbana and left that place and came over here and were reborn, and that as soon as they heard the teaching or they practiced, they were awakened. So we don't know what is exact thing. We can say that yes, they were 7-year-olds who were sotapannas, who were sakdagamis, who were anagamis and arahants also. So they are mentioned very casually. They are mentioned in the suttas many times.
How do we know we have good karmic or
one of the things is how easily you are able to do it, because how easily you are able to see what is arising and passing away. How, so one of the measurements is how long you are able to sit. That is also easily you are able to sit for long periods. Then you see what is arising, passing away. You are able to let go of those things. That is how we know that we have a good, because not everybody can even listen to the Dhamma. That I have come to know when we go over here to people, general public, no, people are not interested. They are not able to kind of give attention. They are. This is not an interesting kind of thing. It is not a kind of masala. They are saying.
He also very much fed up and he never do it again. One time, Rotary Club invited him for a speech, but nobody listened to him. So that day he avoided such public meet. Want them come and have it.
Correct. That is what, but I think I am young enough to kind of do a little bit, so I'm doing it. It's an experience also. I've learned a lot because my teacher used to say that whenever he gave a talk, only one or two people used to come and talk to him after that. One or two people. That is a kind of, if one or two people are also interested and come back, that would also be more than enough. That is what my teacher used to say. So he also started with zero because he had gone, he had sold everything and gone to kind of Thailand. He has gone to. So he had given up his business, everything, and he had gone. And then when he came back after I think 12 years. 12 years he was there in Asia. So he was in Thailand, Burma, Myanmar. He had been visited to India and Sri Lanka also. But he stayed mostly in Burma and Thailand and Malaysia. So when he came back, he had nothing. He had no money. He had no. So there was a Buddhist Mahāvihara, which was there in Washington. So he went over there and he stayed over there. And the day he stayed, you see this book Nevermind Game. The sister came out, which was there. Her name was Louisa Overstreet. So she was a lay person. She was searching for a meditation teacher. One day before he came, she was cycling, searching for a meditation teacher. Somebody said, "You go to this Buddhist place. There you will find a meditation teacher." So she went there, and she said she was in half kind of shorts, bicycle helmet, and bicycle kind of clothes. And she went and said, "I want a meditation teacher." This monk was looking at her and saying, "Well, who is she?" He said, "He is coming tomorrow. He is coming tomorrow." And he said, "Why? Where is he coming from?" "He is coming from Malaysia." She was a little surprised. Maybe the monk also thought maybe somebody know about him. So, but he did not know her and she did not know Bante. So then he said, "Okay." Then he said, "Wear some kind of different clothes. This is not the clothes." We said, "Okay, I'll this thing." Then next day she came and Bante was there. So then after 1 or 2 days, there was a meditation session was there. So she visited and she kind of liked Bante's teaching, and she kind of asked a lot of questions, and Bante was very patient with her. And then slowly she developed. And she had a very major problem. She had a stroke. So what had happened is that sometime before she met Bante, she had gone for some kind of medical issue, and they had given her some medicine which was not correct, and she had a brain stroke. So she had a brain stroke and she could not remember. So the memory was not so good. So she had spent some time with the Indians, these are Native Americans. So she had spent those time and she had tried to kind of gain her memory, but it was not so good. When she came to Bante, then Bante gave her all the teaching of the Dhamma, repetition and kind of remembering the kind of itipiso and all those things. He was repetitions are there, no? So there are a lot of things he kind of, and then her memory for suttas and everything she could quote. But what happened yesterday, she can forget. Then I was with her and I used to kind of have a lot of difficult time. "Oh no, we discussed it yesterday and you said this." No, I never talked to you. She was a very kind of powerful personality. So it was an interesting time with her also. So that is what happens, in Dhamma, that connections happen and we don't know. And then she became a nun. That was a kind of a very unique thing. and they were both in a place which was Missouri, in a this thing. So they were in a trailer park. So Bante had his own kind of this thing, trailer park. And first they made a kuti for Bante. Then she was staying in that trailer. Uh, so that trailer is like a movable kind of bus kind of thing, no? You must have seen in the movies and everything. So she was staying over there. Then this was full of jungle. So then they had to start for making kuti. They have to cut the trees. So she cut the trees, started cutting the trees. I have her photos in overalls, jeans overalls with a big chainsaw. She was 50 at that time, and she used to cut trees and clear them and burn the trees. Then she said she was doing meditation also. She had a very interesting experience at that time. So she was in a meditative state or something like that. She was burning trees. Then she remembered one of the previous lifetimes where she was a warrior. And that is also interesting where Bante taught her to see her previous lifetime. She was clearing something in a gutter, and then she became afraid of the height. And she said, I never am afraid of this height. I hit 50 and now I'm afraid of this heights. So the Buddha, Bante said, you can try and investigate this. So see if you can see your previous lives. And he taught her how to see that. Then when she sat, she saw that many times in her life, she had fallen from a height and died. So then when she came to know that this is all my previous life, has nothing to do with this life, she gave up that fear. Then there was a watchtower for the fires they had made. So she went up the watchtower and saw that fear had gone. And in that, looking at the previous lifetime, she saw that she was a warrior also. And she used to kill people with a club on, and over here she used to hit people and kill. So she had killed a lot of people, and she was a kind of a captain of a kind of group of this thing, means warriors. So that time, what she did was she was burning the wood. So when she was burning the wood, there was a lot of, and it was evening, and she said that she saw her group of people and the back of the salute, as if they were kind of waiting for her to come back. She said that was a unique experience she had. And one of the other experience she had was she would get hit over here again and again.
So the warrior.
That cupboard, those are that would hit her. And then once I was there sitting with her in Sri Lanka. So she was staying in the abbot's brother's house. So a room was given. So she said, "Oh, this I have some food. I give to the birds and come back." When she went and came back, she had a gush over here, and she was not worried. She just took this thing. And I said, "What happened?" I was like beside myself because blood was falling. "Oh no, this keeps happening." Then I was like, "What happened?" Then she told me this story about this, that it keeps happening to me. This is that Sankara. And then before she kind of had the final, before while she was walking, the final days of her walking, we can say, before she was kind of admitted to the hospital, she was in Poland and she was supposed to go to Hungary. And when she kind of went to have the breakfast or something, she hit her head in that same place, and she kind of went unconscious. And then they had to take her to the hospital, and they had to abandon that plan of taking her. Then it was a big issue, and then they took her in an ambulance, and then they took an ambulance and took her to the Hungary. So there was a lot of things which happened. So that thing which is there, karmic, again and again keeps on happening, is a kind of very interesting part.
Strong coordinates.
So the karmic energy is very important in awakening, also in life, also. So many of the things. Like for me, the knee, I used to kind of fall back on my knee. So once I was walking and I fell like this. I fell on my knee and I hurt my knee. I had a car accident and my knee got the same knee, the left knee. Still there is a swelling kind of thing which is there on the knee. So I said, oh, maybe this is a karmic thing. That time I did not, last time when it happened, Okay, this is just a karmic thing which is happening. I did not pay attention. That time I was a lay person, but I was on my journey. I had done my first Vipassana. But that time I said, okay, this is the karmic thing. But after that, it has
How
not.
can we clear the karmic?
There is no clearing in that sense. We have to understand this process and let go. Like there is a Angulimala, the case of Angulimala, who was a murderer, who used to murder and kind of cave their fingers. That's the Angulimala. So when he met the Buddha, or the Buddha went to kind of sandwich him because he thought that he had a capability to become a arahant. So then when he stopped that murder spree and went to learn with the Buddha, he had a lot of people kind of hit him, throw mud at him, stick, and all these things had happened to him. But he persisted with that. And the Buddha said, how can I kind of repay for all this? He said, then you go and kind of chant protective, wherever there is going to be a baby, you go and kind of give a protective chant. So till the date, there is an Angulimala chant which is there for any expectant mother in Sri Lanka. They will have this Angulimala chant. That is a one. So that it's like a protection will be there for the kid. So he was doing, but he became an arahant, not because he had given up, but he understood the process, and he was not in the game anymore.
Dana had a role in this.
Dana has a role.
Role
There
in
is-
clearing our karma.
Yeah, but it is not the end of it. Dana with the right mindset, if the dana is done, then it can take you to a sotapanna level. So you should have the 5 precepts, keeping the 5 precepts, and you are giving freely, and we are giving. So the giving also has certain steps. When before giving, you have a clear mind. While giving, you have a clear mind, and after giving, you have a joyous mind of joy, not about
3 stages.
3 stages. So you should not have regret after giving. So when you are giving, before that you have to clear your mind. When giving, you have to have a clear mind, and after that also, and you have to have a clear mind or joy you should have. And when that kind of a giving is given, then if you are freely giving and have the precepts, you are keeping the precepts, then you can call yourself Sotapanna, the Buddha said. So giving has a very big thing. Then there is another sutta where the correct mindset which is there is said to be, there are different mindsets are there, and one of the mindset is given is that you give as a beautification of the mind, as a requisite of the mind. Like you think that this is the kind of the thing to kind of beautify your mind, to kind of as a necessity of the mind. It is called requisites. For monk also there is called requisite. So then there is a chitta alankara. Chitta parikara. Parikara is the requisites of a monk. So that is what is the requisite of the mind. So as a basic need of the mind, you give that. If you give that, you can also attain to anagami status. That is the mindset of giving. So mindset of giving have 2 places. One place there, Buddha says you can attain Sotapanna, and another place he says you can attain the anagami status also, if you are giving in a correct manner, with a giving. So there are stages which are there, like you give because you want something, like you want to have a good rebirth. That is one. So you get a rebirth as a earth deva. Then you give because this was a tradition, and you don't want to break the tradition. You give because you have, and the other don't have. Then you give that. Then you give as a kind of a sacrifice, like the rishis in the past used to sacrifice. I will do. You give because it is gives joy to the mind, and then there is a giving which is for the requisite of the mind, for the kind of the beautification of the mind. That is what a mindset is there. So there is different way. The giving has been very much praised. And Buddha, whenever he is going for the meals, most of the time he is giving a talk on the giving. So the generosity on giving, dana. He talks about dana most of the time. So that is what. Okay? We talked more today. Tomorrow
One more day we have.
one more day. Tomorrow will be very short talk because I will give you how to take most of the things we have talked already. You have been asking, and I have been also telling how to take it to your kind of life. So many of the things I have already told. So I just repeat those things. There is a shorter talk which is there. So we will end tomorrow, and there are certain people also coming, no? So maybe if they are there in the evening, we will kind of this will be a good talk. Where this is like a general talk tomorrow, because how to take this practice into your life and how to kind of make a use of it. Because but they had a book which is life is meditation and meditation is life. So if you are taking meditation as a sitting, then but in the life it is useful, no? So you have to not take only a sitting practice. Okay. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu.